Hello, I'm Bentzedek Bentora of Debt Relief Fighters. I am not an attorney. I do not give legal advice. All the information given here will be for inspirational, educational, and informational purposes only. We do not practice law. Never have, never will. If you want an attorney, you could seek legal advice from a competent attorney if you could find one. No pun intended. Now to begin. CPS, known as Child Protective Service, I refer to it as Child Pimp Service. In some states, it's also called Department of Children and Families. Whatever name they have, they're the same. Okay? They do the same action. The results are the same. They're evil. They're demonic. I've known of people that have been through it, and I see the terror that they suffer. Okay? First of all, it is not a law. They, they work under what is known as statutes and codes and regulations, which are not laws. Um, the Title 4E and Title 4B, who is the agency that runs CPS and Department of Children and Family. The Social Security Act is where these things are housed. For example, 42 USC of the Social Security Act is where we find the Department of Health and Human Services. The Department of Health and Human Services are the ones who run these CPS, demonic agencies. Okay, 42 years of the Social Security Act was never enacted into positive law. So therefore, it requires signature to compel performance. In other words, they have to get your signature or your consent to move forward. But they don't tell you this because why? Under Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, this is a republican form of government, meaning its rights are protected by a constitution and it's a government by consent. Okay? And they don't want you to know this, but they have no jurisdiction over you. They have no jurisdiction over your offspring. And you'll hear me refer to your your offspring instead of children, because children or child is a term that is used in your legal jargon to turn your offspring into a property of the state. Once they give them that birth certificate and all that stuff and social security number and card, they become an entity of the state. Okay, that's why, for example, in every state of the union, they don't talk about the so-called parent offspring. What they say the state's children. They'll say, for example, New York's children or California's children or Florida children. Think about that, because they don't recognize them as your offspring. They recognize them as state property. Okay? Most attorney will not help you and cannot help you. Why? Because they are contracted with these agencies via the Family Support Act. Okay? You can Google it, and therefore they have the best interests of the government or the court or the state. That's why under Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7, it tells you clearly that attorney's first priority is to the government, the court, and you last. Okay, so they don't have you nor your offspring's best interest. Now, there are 54 codes of the annotated United States Code. Okay, you could look at 1 USC 204, known as the prima facie evidence, meaning at first evidence it seems to be law, but it needs rebuttal. If you do not rebut it, then it operates as law, until you rebut it. But it's actually color of law. It's not law. It mimics law. It acts like law. It even has the force of law, but it requires your consent. Okay, it's not law. Of these 54 codes, some are positive and some are non-positive. The only one that is not positive, non-positive is 28 USC, 28 of the United States codes, which have to do with the federal rules of civil procedure. In other words, how the courts operate. That's found under 28 USC. Now, the difference between positive law and non-positive law in layman's term is this. Positive law applies to everyone. For example, murder, unless you're a police officer. Just kidding. But it really applies to everyone, or supposedly applies to everyone. Positive law. Non-positive law applies to certain limited group of people, people who consent to the jurisdiction. For example, Title 4 B and E is of the Social Security Act. Those are the agency that runs CPS. These are the different titles. You have Title 4A, which is TANF. TANF is an acronym for Temporary Aid for Needy Family. This is where mom and dads go to get help from the state, welfare benefits. Title 4B is who pays federal incentive for to the state every time that they steal and kidnap your children. Title 4C was repealed, doesn't exist anymore. Title 4D is the collection agency for child support. They collect the fund back from which was loaned out under Title 4A. Title 4D is the collection agency. Okay, they are known as child support enforcement. And then Title 4E is the agency that the government used to reimburse the state every time that they adopt your offspring. And believe me, they get a lot of money when they kidnap your children and their offspring and they adopt them out. Okay, these are all criminals. They are all demonic. Okay, we have unalienable or inherent right. Unalienable right meaning our rights came from the Almighty. That means they are non-transferable. No one could transfer your right. No one could waive your right. Okay? And they're inherent, meaning you have them from birth. Okay? And the Constitution doesn't give us our right. What the Constitution does is just a mere affirmation that those rights already exist. But you have to know those rights and you have to enforce them. Okay? What happened in these kangaroo so-called courts, which are not courts, okay? What happened is the so-called judges, which are magistrate or administrators, they are contracted with these agencies, okay? So you don't have a chance. Your offspring doesn't have a chance. They're operating under contract. They're administrative agencies, right? Masquerading as courts, right? The sheriff department, probation, all of these groups, they have a constitutional right to protection. They take an oath, a constitutional oath to protect you and your offspring's rights, yet they violate it for so-called money. Okay? These are not courts. They are Title 4B and Title 4E agencies. They are not courts because under the Constitution, they have a separation of powers clause under legislative branch. Those are the lawmakers. The executive branch is the police administrative power, and then you have the Article 3 where we find the judiciary, which is the court. There's no skipping of the fence. They have to work separate. Okay, this is to prevent tyranny. I think it was Thomas Jefferson who said, "Where law ends, tyranny begins," and he also stated that if the people fear the government, it is tyranny. But if the government fears the people, it is freedom. Okay? We are experts of this. We could help you. We have been studying this for years. We know the ins and outs. We know the pros and cons. We know that what they can and what they cannot do. Okay? And we will help you and your offspring be free. Just contact us. I leave our contact below. It's Bentzedek at hotmail.com. Okay, but I'm gonna leave it below so you could contact us. Like I said, we cannot guarantee the outcome in these kangaroo so-called court, which are nothing but administrative tribunals, but what we do guarantee will give you a great chance of getting success. Okay, our stuff is powerful. So if you need to reach us, just contact us at Bentzedek at hotmail.com. We are the Debt Relief Fighters, and believe me, we know our stuff. We'll help you with the information to study and free yourself. So anything you need to know, just contact us. Okay? We cannot stand these demons, these devils. The United States Constitution, okay, it is based upon biblical law, biblical principle. What we must understand is this: it is the law of the land. Okay? And they must follow it. So contact us. I'm going to close this segment for now. Take care.